Hello guys, it is me, Elizama, and today I want to make a little tutorial on how to like quote-unquote animate with Sony Vegas. So we have our sort of like backdrop here, and we just drag this soft blue backdrop onto here. And what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna shorten it to 5 seconds. 5 seconds here. Okay, now it's about 5 seconds long. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a video track, and we're going to add like what we're going to animate. For instance, we could just use the Elizama logo, for example. And yes, I have tons of Elizama logos. And so I'm going to put in this audio track, and we can just delete this track, I guess, because we don't really need it, I guess. So this is the Elizama logo. Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make it animate across the screen. Just a very basic animation. Now, first of all, it renders it in this aspect ratio. So when you're moving objects in Sony Vegas, it's kind of more like the perspective of the screen. So for example, if this squares the screen, and you move it like this, and the edge of the screen is barely just against the S here. That's what it'll look like. Is this squares the screen? That's what the screen will kind of look like, and this is exactly what it looks like. So store to center here. So as you know, it's only a square aspect ratio because that's the aspect ratio of the image itself. So if we move it around here, just clip out kind of. What I want to do now is what I do. I just just make this easier. I'm gonna I enable snapping here, so whenever you move it, it snaps to a grid kind of. What I want to do is I want to make it the same aspect ratio as the actual screen. Now if you're snapping to a grid, you can just simply hold down Shift to make it not, and to stretch it. To stretch it in a way, you just hold down Control. If you want to disable the grid snapping, just hold down Shift, and that's just about right. So let's restore it to here. And actually we have to. Okay, so now the aspect ratio is fixed. Now it's wide instead of just square. So what we want to do is so we're gonna make it animate, move across the screen from left to right here. So what we're going to do is going to press the left and right arrow keys to change this kind of camera view. It's based on camera view rather than the actual position of the object. So if I move the camera, if I move it right, it'll go left because no, the center dot is on the S kind of end, and that's kind of where the center of the screen is right now. So what we want to do, if we want to come from the left, we have to move the camera sort of to the right. Let's move it all the way here to the thing, to the very left of the screen here. And now these are what are called keyframes. Keyframes are points in an animation, say, that store information where an object is. For example, the camera. Let's see here. So we can move this little slider around here, and let's move it to the very end of here. And what we're going to do, if we move it, it'll automatically create a new keyframe for us. See, a new keyframe just popped up. And this keyframe, if we move this, actually let's press this button. This button syncs this cursor with the cursor here, so that it's kind of easier. So now our cursor is at the very end here, and so if you move it to the left here, the Lismo logo, the object will go to the right here. So it goes from this keyframe, which has the object on the left side because the camera's on the right side, and this keyframe, which has the object on the right side because the camera's on the left side. Now it like fills in space, and so it automatically moves it, and so it looks like this kind of. It looks like this. So let's see how it looks. Just put it at the very beginning. So there's one keyframe, as in again it has one keyframe where it's on the left, and another keyframe where it's on the right. It like fills in the space between them, and like so it seamlessly glides from one keyframe to another. So that's how it works. And also there's more than just that. That's called a linear animation, where just basically just moves like this. So we can edit the keyframes. Let's say if we just want this to be, want the first keyframe to have it. So if I want this first keyframe to have it be just be just a bit like in the screen, kind of, as you can see there. We can like edit that one, and let's edit this one. So now, what we can do now is we can use different modes. So this is what's known as a linear transition, a linear movement. It just simply moves. So like goes. I know it's a bit laggy, but and yes, I am currently chatting with the awesome dude on Hangout, so you're gonna hear messages like that. Anyways, so this is the okay. I was just checking to see if my microphone was on. And yes, this video is unscripted. Anyways, so what's happening here is that it's at one point and it just starts moving, like it goes like one point just starts moving, then immediately stops at the other point, the second point. So that's what's known as a linear movement. There's also other movements you can do, like a fast movement. Fast movement looks like this. Not very fast, really, but so alright. So the thing that's happening here is that it starts moving. It just starts moving. Just one point just immediately starts moving, and then it gradually and as it gets to the second point, it gradually slows down, and then it slows down and it stops here. That's a fast movement. Now let's take a look at the slow movement. So that's basically like the fast movement, except it immediately starts and it goes from goes from moving slowly to moving faster, and as it moves faster, it moves gradually faster as it reaches the second point. And yeah, that is a fast movement. So now here's a smooth movement. So let's take a look at a smooth movement. So what's happening here is the movement starts, and then it starts slow. Then towards the middle, between point 1 and point 2, towards the middle of that transition, it becomes faster. So it starts off slow, and gradually turns into fast at the middle, and then from that point it gradually turns back to slow as it reaches the second point. That is a a sharp movement. So what's happening here? That's a sharp movement, and what's happening here is that the movement starts and then it starts off fast and then and then when it's in the middle, so from point 1 to the middle, it's fast, and then as it gets to the middle, it gets gradually slower. As it gets to the middle, it gets slower, and once it's at the middle, it goes back to fast. So basically it looks like this. That's a sharp movement. And finally, hold is where that keyframe just holds. There's no movement. There's no movement. So let's move it. Let's move this keyframe to the middle here. Let's move the second keyframe to the middle here. Now we moved the second keyframe to the middle. So so it just holds it at one place, and then once it reaches the second keyframe, it just teleports with no movement. So once it reaches keyframe 1, it just holds no movement, and then once it reaches keyframe 2, it just jumps right to that other position. So those are all the movement types that you can do, and that's like basic animation with Sony Vegas. And yes, that's how animation works in Sony Vegas. And yeah, that's how you move objects in Sony Vegas. And thanks for watching this tutorial, and goodbye.